Hey everybody, welcome to Oak Hollow Garage. My name is Thomas, and this is, oh gosh, I don't know, part 29. I can never remember what part I'm on. It doesn't matter. It'll be in the title of the Daytona Coupe build. And so last video, I was talking about how I started the wiring, and yes, it's still intimidating, but I'm getting little bits and pieces here and there. But I've had a couple of viewers come by, John and Dan. Hey guys, it was really nice meeting you. They came by. John is building a Daytona Coupe, and he got his, I don't know, 3 months ago, and he's already at the same place I am after a year. But that's awesome that he's moving along. So we shared some ideas, and I decided to kind of follow his lead, and I'm gonna kind of move on and install. Get the radiator installed, get the hoses run, get the heater core installed, air conditioning, all that stuff, and just try to get more parts installed. Some of the issues with the wiring, I think it's just going to be little bits and pieces here and there. I'm just going to slowly connect as I learn things and get answers from the forum and whatnot. I'm still struggling with where I want to put the fuse panel. I think it's just going to end up having to be in that awkward spot underneath, where it's kind of underneath the clutch master cylinder. I might put, I don't know, maybe put a little bit of like a rubber thing in there, so if there's ever a hydraulic fluid leak, it won't leak onto the fuse panel. It'll run down off to there on my feet. So maybe that's what I'm gonna do, but I cannot find a better mounting point for that fuse panel. I'd love to hear if anybody else has had this same challenge and found a better spot. But in the meantime, I mean, it's just temporarily mounted there, but I think that's where it's going to be. But today I'm going to go ahead and move on to kind of the next steps, which is attaching the panels for the radiator shroud and getting the radiator and the fan kind of set up. So I'm going to go ahead and take you along on that install. Probably not going to show you mounting the panels and riveting those. That's not very exciting. Just don't forget the silicone between the steel frame and the panels, and watch what's overlapping what. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do next. So I'll get those panels here. Let me take you off this stand. So I'm going to get this panel's just sitting here. So I'm going to get this panel installed, then the two side panels, and then the radiator and the fan. And I think that's probably all I'm going to get done today. But by the end of the day, this front will be built out a little bit more, and then we'll see what comes next. This starts and ends there. Okay. So that panel goes underneath. Let's see if I have. Is this going to come out? Yeah, all right. That panel goes underneath the bigger panel. So we're going to put that on first with the silicone here. I went ahead and got black silicone just because when it oozes out, it'll sort of match the frame. And you can't see my sins very well. And then I have one of these little dudes that plugs in, and it's kept this silicone from drying up. It's been awesome. All right, so let's see. How do I need to do this? I think I'm going to actually go ahead and silicone the whole thing. Everywhere this goes. That's what I'm going to do. And then we'll get it on. I think what I'm going to do is try to get a couple of these dudes, get this lined up somehow. That's lined up there. And this lined up. Yep, good. Get this lined up. Nice. All right, everything's lining up over here. So that's good news. And then I'm going to put this underneath because I want so I want this to be on top, that's all. I just think it'll look better. Airflow and all. Alright. Get a couple more of these in the middle. Let's get this, squish it down. And start riveting. Alright. You go ahead and just Alright, I'm not going to film all of this, so movie magic, next time you see me, this will all be done. Just like that, all done. All the rivets are in, I got some schmutz in a few places. Trying to clean that up. All in all, not too bad. So next step is gonna be to mount the radiator, I think. So we'll come back to that. All right, so a couple pages back, it talks about the radiator. I don't know what these four things are, small hose. And this, I think, is this unit here. I'm assuming the small hose is the overflow. That's somewhere. Yeah, but I'm not sure what these are. They weren't in the box with the radiator. It was just a radiator and this. So we'll come back to that. We got the fan mounting hardware, which is shown different in the book than it really is, but you know, round, square, whatever. That's these guys. Oh, they're actual size. Look at that. And then we need, I'm not sure which four. Probably these four, because I'm assuming they go on here. And yeah, that fits. All right, so those four dudes there. And this stuff I'll put back. I might need some of these washers. But I'll put all this stuff back in the bag so I don't lose it. Not sure what it's for. I'm sure it's super important. So we'll get that back in the bag. And we shall go from there. All right, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and record it. Let's see, 7/16 deep socket. 7/16. Okay. That's interesting. These are square. Oh yeah, look at that. They tell you, hey, use some pliers to hold it from spinning. That's cool. Maybe it's just so that it's a standoff a bit. I suppose that's it. All right, well, let's see what we got. Why did I left one out? Okay. I left a small nut out. Sorry, guys. I want to stay organized as much as possible, even though I'm a bit of a disorganized mess. All right, these I'm not going to tighten yet. Well, maybe I'll tighten them a little bit. All right, pair of pliers. I'm not strong enough, apparently. So we'll go with some channel locks, or sorry, vice grips. There we go. And then you don't fit. All right, we'll have to see how that goes. Okay, so got these all on. And yeah, I guess I'll meet you guys over at the radiator. I just want to post a little bit of a correction. The instructions, once you turn the page, say to tighten this until these get embedded into the plastic frame. So square peg into round hole. Okay, so do pay attention to the orientation of the radiator. This is up and up, and then the power line goes down here. At least that's what it seems to. Although I think it goes off that direction. So maybe we can move it over here, whatever. All right, so next, 3/16 inch holes into this flange so we can mount the radiator. Or sorry, the fan to the radiator. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do, so I've gone ahead and tried to center it up, left and right, top and bottom. So it's pretty well centered. I'm not gonna be super anal retentive about it, but it's pretty well centered. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my punch down and get these holes drilled. All right, so the fan is all mounted there. Next thing this is telling me to do is take my razor blade, my razor knife, that's what it says, and cut 8.5 inch long sections of fuel line lengthwise. And just to make a little rubber mount. I wasn't entirely sure quite what it's supposed to be doing, but I will take you off the stand here and show you what I believe I need to be doing. So I think it wants a little section of the fuel hose to go there, just on that channel and on this one. So just making a little rubber mount. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll be back in a minute. So I started to use my razor knife, which needs a new blade, and I was like, you know, this is how trips to the hospital for stitches, you know, start. So I'm still not using the right tool for the job for sure, but I'm using my tin snips to cut through, and it's, you know, not doing too awfully bad of a job. So I just thought I'd share that, you know, keep safety in mind when you're doing this kind of stuff. Anyways. Alright, so I don't know why it took me as long as it did to remember what the top radiator mount was, but it's this large piece of steel here. And then we need to put this, it said put the half moon weather stripping on. This looks like half moons to me. So I cut it to length. I'm going to clean this real quick and get that stuck on there, and then I got to find the screws that go into these holes and drill so I can mount it into the frame. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll be back. All right, so I haven't really figured out the best way to mount the radiator with this in kind of in place. But I think, so I've got ahead and mounted the screw on this side, and then I think I'm going to leave the other side here kind of open and loose, and then kind of go under here, I think. And not really sure. There we go, there's that. All right, I guess that's it. Except that's not all the way through. Well, we'll get that all the way through. Yeah. So I think, so this is kind of getting caught on the screws here, on the nuts on the back of these mounts. So let's do this again. Maybe, I don't know if I can get that underneath without scratching up. This is probably supposed to be a lot easier than I'm making it. All right, I feel like I like that a little bit better. All right, let me see if I can get this bolt in and at least get it started. It's kind of a gap on this side. Let me show you. Maybe I'll loosen this side. All right, let me show you. All right, so I have this side kind of snug down and it's pretty flat. Right, and then you can see that this kind of comes up at a bit of an angle, and then it's got to flare out again, but it needs clearance on this side, so the radiator's got to be over like that, right? And then this one though, there's a gap. So I think I'm going to try and loosen this side and see if that'll give me enough wiggle room to get the bolt through and threaded on this side. So I'm going to see if that works. So it looks like that did it. I was able to get this one threaded in and start tightening down. And this one, get this in, tighten down. And then get an Allen wrench, hex wrench, whatever, to get this tightened. And then radiator's in. Up are the hoses. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just do that work off camera, and then I'll show you what I've done. If there's anything like that's particularly tricky or weird, I'll go ahead and turn on the camera. But I mean, for the most part, it's kind of just routing hoses, and the book tells you where to put them. So I think I'm gonna just skip that on the video, and we'll pick up from them being installed. All right. So, full disclosure here, guys. You know, I was thinking, I'm just going to toss these radiator hoses on, and it's all good. And I've got a bunch of thinking to do about how I want to route these radiator hoses. So I think I'm going to come back to that. And, you know, I'll do a video specifically on how I routed these hoses once I get it figured out. But let me kind of take you through where I'm at right now. Hang on. Yeah, so the instructions are like, just put that little thing on and then put this hose over the top of it. And then, you know, that goes there. And then this is the engine, and then this comes this way out to the front where the radiator is. And then there's a little hose here on the bottom. And then there's this stuff that just kind of curves and goes somewhere. And then you put the overflow in. You know, simple. All right, so I've got this hose. I've got this hose, but this is thin compared to this hose. I mean, right? Those aren't the same. So this is a radiator hose for sure. And then we've got these dudes, right? So I went ahead and put one of those dudes over up here, but that's just like pointing way up. And I kind of need something that goes like 90 degrees. Right? So that's not what I need. So I need that to come off 90 degrees so I can like somehow attach this dude like somewhere where it's not gonna, you know, hit the belt or whatever. So it's gonna have to come up like here. Now I could, I guess, well, if I run a 90 degrees there, I could just come off like this. There's a tiny, well, probably this way here. I'll turn this hose like maybe like that. right? And then this can come this way, but then it's got to go down because this is here. So then, like, I guess a 90 degree there, and then a 90 degree down, and then I can get to the stainless steel hose that'll come over to there. Maybe. I think. Possibly. I don't know. So, and then that's that side, and then the return trip. Notice how this is angled this way, right? Oops, let me get this in frame. See how that's angled that way? When you come underneath, it's angled, see it here, kind of straight under this way. So it can go like under the lower control arm, under here. But then I've gone ahead and routed my brake lines under there. You can see the brake line. So that's kind of possibly an issue. So I might have to do a little fixing there. And then it's got to come over. Oh, sorry. It's got to come over and then get up to this dude up here. So I got some figuring to do. And maybe I'm not going to reroute the brake lines, but I'll have to take that into consideration. So I'm probably going to do some hacking of tubes or hoses and get some elbows and a few other things. So I'm going to wrap this video here. I mean, you know, I got a lot accomplished. Got all these panels on. I got the radiator mounted, got the fan on. Stuff, right? So that's not so bad. So we're going to call this a success today. And then we'll deal with the hoses another time. That'll just be a future success, not a failure today. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. If you have any suggestions on how I should route my hoses, please hit me up down below in the comments. I always appreciate your feedback. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.